Boom. Welcome back. Picking right up where we left off in the last part. I think we're on part 6 now. This is only a few days after I finished up and posted the other video. I got some serious things to address here, and this, yeah, I'm not happy with it. Let's get into a few things here. Keeping this real, all right? So let's take a look. All right, so in the last video, you see I got the motor installed in the car, and on a couple of the Coyote pages on Facebook and the groups I'm in, I posted some pictures of this, and some keen-eyed people have noticed that, wow, motor looks crooked in there. And you are absolutely correct. Quite frankly, the motor fits like poop. I am not happy with how this went at all. First of all, over here on this side, maybe I can use a light, BBK header is literally sitting on the frame rail. It's touching. And because it is touching the frame rail, the motor is kicked over like this. I can't get it straight. And God knows why, but for some reason, this Team ZK member fit like absolute garbage. None of the holes lined up right. We had to ratchet strap, pull things. Like I said in the last video, we played hell getting this thing to bolt up right. I don't have any adjustability to move this K-member from where it is at in this current location than what it is. Every other K-member install I've ever done, there's enough play in everything to where you can move the K-member around and make sure it's squared up underneath the chassis. Not the case here. The other thing is bolting it up. Noticed there is, well, you can't see, there's no light source, but there's a gap back here between the spacer, you can see a little bit of light there, between the spacer and the frame rail of the car. And it's the same on both sides. And I tightened it up so much it literally sounded like I was crushing the frame rail. So I'm pulling this all back out, and I got to make some major, I got to do some changes to this. So that's what this video is going to entail. Going to rip this all back out. We're going to start all over, and I have some ideas on what I got to do to fix it. I got a hold of Tim over at Math Performance. Again, I am using his K-member spacers. I'm using the 1/2-inch variant. I'm going to go a full 1-inch to get this lowered a little bit more. And I'm going to have to modify the pad on the cross member where the motor mount sits, so it'll clear the header primary tube so I can move the motor forward into the forward slots on the K-member. And that'll get me the clearance I need back here, which there is none. So I'm going to move essentially the motor is going to get dropped another 1/2 inch down. I'm going to move it forward probably 1 inch. Then I'm also going to I'll have to put shims between the motor mount and the K-member to get the clearance you need. Let's take a peek. Right here at the oil pan. So right there, current situation. I mean, there is barely clearance there between that cross member and that hump in the oil pan. So I will be able to go to the forward slot in the K-member to move the motor forward, but that will potentially cause an interference right there. So some shims underneath the motor mount, maybe just say 1/4 of an inch to get it up so that tube will fit nicely right here in that little pocket. So that'll fix that. And the other thing I didn't realize till after this was all done is these motor mounts, or these Prothanes, energy suspension, whatever, they're all the same. That little nub that's on the bottom of this, It's like right under here. It doesn't fit into any slot or anything like that, and it's basically holding the motor up a little bit so it's not sitting flat on there. So that has to be modified as well. So yeah, not real happy with this. So gonna get this all tore apart. Great. All right, so the other potential issue that I ran into, and it will be even, well, it'll be, well, I guess it will be better, but it'll be worse too. So by me dropping the motor another 1/2 inch, that will give me, I need more clearance for the hood. This is a turbo coupe hood. It's got the snorkels in it. So it does have, they do drop down. They do create some clearance issues with the inlet tube for the air box. So by dropping the engine down another 1/2 inch for an inch total drop, I'll make a little more clearance between that air inlet tube on the air box to the bottom side of the hood. But that also created a problem right here with the radiator hold down to where that inlet tube literally wants to sit on top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the mounting for this radiator. This car does have a tubular lower core support in it. The original one was damaged beyond repair, so I put that in years ago. Kind of a little mock-up here. Going to alter the lower mounting points to, I'm going to take these factory mounting pads that I put on the core support. I'm going to take those off, and it was just kind of an idea here. We just kind of slid it, dropped it down in front of that tube, and lowered the radiator that much. And literally the air inlet tube just goes right over top of that, which worked out really good. I don't know if I can actually mount it this way because of the outlet on the radiator itself. It's sitting right on the tube down there. So I may go the opposite direction. I may end up taking the radiator, taking the bottom of it, and mounting it on the back side of this tube so the radiator will be mounted kind of this way. There's nothing in front of the motor. I don't have any accessories to go on it. So I have all this real estate, and the Spall electric fan is on the front side of this radiator. So I think that would actually work out pretty good. It'll get the radiator low. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to use the radiator hold down that I have now. I'll have to come up with something new. No big deal. But I think it will fix a couple problems here as far as getting the air inlet to not interfere with the radiator hold down, get me the hood clearance I need. So, and, you know, like I said, I already have the tubular in there. It's easy enough. Those two little lower mounting pads are just basically a couple tack welds are holding them on, so I'll just rip those off, move them to the back side probably of that 1 3/4 tubing, and that should give me all the clearance I need. So all this is going to be done next, so let's get going on this. All right, so one of the first things I'm going to have to address by me moving the motor forward into that front slot, I'm going to have an interference issue right here with this header tube hitting that corner of the mounting pad on the K-member. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark on here, and we're going to have to cut off this corner here. Going to have to eliminate this whole corner enough to where when I move the motor forward, it clears the header tube, and it's the exact same on both sides. So once I do that, that'll give me the room I need to get this motor moved in the forward holes. So that's what I'm going to do. And then while I'm down here, get a better look at it. By me modifying this lower core support, I'll take these brackets, I'll take those off. It's an 1 3/4 piece of tubing. I'll move them all the way down here, so I'm essentially going to lower that radiator almost 2 inches, and you know, it'll still give me plenty of ground clearance. The radiator, you know, it won't be any lower than the K-member or any other portion of the car, so it'll be fine like that. So I think that will accomplish what I want for all the clearance I need up top for the radiator hood and the air inlet tube. So that should be a pretty quick and simple modification there. So, all right, what do we got here? Motor's back out. Everything is back out of the car here. Butchered up the paint pretty good here. Motor's out, so I've already cut my radiator brackets off, the core support there. Getting ready, we got those modified, get those welded back on. Still have to address that yet. But first things first, the K-member. Modified it to clear the headers. You can see that corner has been cut off, and that corner has been cut off. So that'll allow me to put the motor mount studs in the front holes. So that problem is fixed. Also, the little nubs on the bottom side of the motor mounts were ground flat. So that is taken care of. We just mocked up the K-member in the car with nothing else in it. And the problem we're finding is the whole thing needs to come to the driver's side. But the way... So the holes on the passenger frame rail are elongated. This side is not. This hole is oversized. There's playroom there. But this hole is exactly the size of the bolt. So even though these other ones have room to play, you can't move it because this one. So the plan is drill the pilot hole right here. I'm going to use a unibit. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to make it oval so we'll have room to move the K-member left to right in the car, which should get the whole motor shifted over and away from the frame rail and the header tube hopefully off of the car.
And square this up.
Yeah, then we can actually get it square in the car, because actually when we held it up, these back ones here, that one was off, what, a whole width of a bolt?
Yeah.
And this one was about half of a bolt width off. So the whole K-member needs to come over in the chassis.
And
so
it needs to twist.
And it needs to twist, yeah, it wasn't straight. So we're going to make some modifications to this hole, maybe even that hole too. I may take a little out of that as well while we're doing this. And we're going to remock this up. All right, so got the K-member modified. So I already trimmed it up. So these are the two holes. I opened up that one, elongated that, and we opened up this one here. We test fitted under the car. Now everything lines up, even these back four here that were a little bit of a problem. Can get those to line up now, so we know it fits. I went ahead, I cut off those lower radiator mounts off the core support, modified them, and then re-welded them on the bottom side and out. Instead of being on top, now they're behind it. So that should lower the radiator down about almost 2 full inches. And then instead of it being, even up here, it's going to be almost underneath this here. So that should give me a little more room for the inlet tube too. So that's done. All right. And with the help of some movie magic, voila, it's back in. Motor is now sat back in. Everything's bolted up, and it is 1,000% better. Motor is straight. Motor is basically level. I got all the clearance I need over here on this side for the header tube. And I modified the radiator. I lowered it. You can kind of tell by the upper part of the core support how much lower I mounted the radiator. It's kind of tilted back a little bit. And then the air inlet right now, it's just sitting on top of the radiator. Don't mind the dog. Hopefully it clears the hood. If not, I'll just have to go with I guess an aftermarket air inlet setup and different air box or something. But I'm hoping to use all that, obviously. So there it is. It's in. It's only taken like 2 months. And there's the front suspension all back together. Coil springs, struts, brakes, everything back on the car now. So it is almost a roller. All I gotta do is throw the rack in it and the steering shaft and the steering column. And it's actually back to a rolling chassis again. Super excited here. This is awesome. So, it's got one more brake line hook up on this side. We're good. All right, so I think I'm gonna leave off this video here now that I'm finally right back to where I was at the end of the last Coyote T-Bird video. But moving on to the next part of this project. So there it is, getting the directions out for the wiring. I got the computer, rest of the control pack wiring there to deal with next. And boy, yeah, I got quite the mess in here. I got to get the drive-by-wire gas pedal installed, steering column back in, get all this wiring taken care of. So yeah, there's a lot to do in here. I don't want to think about it right now. So anyway, we'll wrap it up here, and we'll pick it up on the next one when I start tackling getting all the wiring stuff taken care of, getting the computer mounted. I got to put the trans in it. I got that ready to go too. So that's it for this one. I will catch you on the next one. If you like it, you know the deal. Give it a like. If not, whatever. And I will see you in a while. Later.